Hello, everyone, and welcome to Dirt Track Confessions. I am your host, Mandee Pauch Mahaney, and today we have my father joining us. Hello, Dad.
How we doing?
Great. Thank you for joining us. And we have a puppy running around our studio up here. As soon as the cameras go down.
The new boy.
Yeah, the new boy. He's not used to this yet. Mm-hmm. So it was very interesting. I was talking with my husband not too long ago, and he actually brought up a really good point, or I should say question for you. And he was saying how, you've built up yourself such a pristine reputation. You've raised, my brother and I to care about how we show up in the world and our impact we make and stuff. And so Mike goes, your dad, that's what it was. I was telling Mike how I want to write a book one day, Dad. I'm going to write a book, but it's not going to be published until I'm dead. It's going to be one of those books. Mm-hmm. So the question is, you're not 100% retired, but you've definitely slowed down massively enough that, you could tell the world how you really feel. Mm-hmm. But you haven't.
Ladies and gentlemen, you wanted it, you got it. The place for the untold, real, raw, and juicy stories of dirt track racing. It's Dirt Track Confessions. And now here's your host, Billy Pauch Mahaney.
I guess we'll start from the beginning is, when it comes to reputation, were there some learning curves with that?
Well, when I just started out racing, as a farm boy, and I didn't know that much, and it was back in the 70s, mid-70s, or, 74 when I kind of started, and I had long hair and smoked cigarettes and, probably a lot of things that you're not properly supposed to do to be in the limelight, and but I didn't really care. At that time, I just wanted to race, and that was all I cared about, and, people I had to accept me the way I was, I didn't talk much. When I first got interviewed, it was yes and no answers, and that's the way it was when I started, and I kind of shied away from people, and nowadays you have to be a little bit of a politician to get sponsors and rides and all that kind of stuff because, hey, you're not going to do this on your own. It's unless you got rich parents, and if you don't have the money, you got to go out and try to come up with money. So you got to have a good reputation and dress and look neat and be proper and social.
Now that kind of, you mentioned something there is you have to be a politician, and we always joke about Billy being a politician. But when he really was getting into this, I remember you had to tell him, you're here to race. You're not here to be a politician.
No, I didn't say a politician. Back then, it was a socialite.
Oh, that was a socialite.
He was a socialite. When he first started racing, he'd be over there talking to people and this and that. And, it's like, Bill, if you want to be good at this, you got to pay attention. It's like a football game. You don't go over and start talking to the fans in the middle of a play. You're in the game, Even though you're not out on the track, you're watching the track. You're watching your competitors, and you're paying attention to every aspect of the sport. So if you want to be good, that's what you got to do. If you're just doing it for fun, well, that's different. A lot of people just race for fun, and, they want to go there and socialize with people, and, that's a different story. It's all what you're into. I was pretty serious when I did it, and when I first started doing it, like I said, it was for fun. I didn't really know if I'd be any good at it when I first started racing, and it was me and bunch of my high school friends, and we used to come in after warm-ups or heat at Nazareth, and I get out of the car and we start goofing off and wrestling around in the grass and stuff. The next thing you know, security'd be up there.
Oh, jeez.
They thought there was a fight, but we were just, we're kids. We didn't know no better, just having some fun, and then it got to where, I kind of figured I had a little bit of talent. Maybe I could make a living out of racing, and things got a little bit more serious and stuff. And
No, you're good. Sorry, guys. We're watching
I see you
the
looking
pub.
over there like he did something he shouldn't have done.
Well, he took off running, so we don't know.
Okay.
We should put a camera on him.
He's still got a lot of sooner in him yet.
Yeah.
He'd sooner go inside than outside. But yeah, like I said, at first it was for fun and games, and then it got serious. I mean, my talent. I wasn't a real good politician talker, and I think my talent got me through that. People hired me because I could drive a race car, and owners wanted to win. That's what it's all about. You don't do it not to win. So they try to hire somebody that's going to win races for them. And then the older I got, it's you're starting to become. The first I really got into maybe like a brand name or whatever was when I met Glenn Heineman, and he was a whole different cat. He was the first dude I signed a contract to race for, and it's like you got to like have a different attitude on things with Glenn, and it's a lot more professional. We had uniforms, and it was pretty good. I mean, Glenn taught me a lot business wise, and we won a lot of races together, and we did good, But like I say, Glenn taught me a lot of the sponsorship side of it.
So would you say, hey, don't be chewing on my equipment? Yeah, now he's chewing. So from, let's say, like the early stages, I'm sure you can, if you want to mention them or not, it's up to you. But were there instances where down the road it came back at you? I'm the kind of guy when you have a bad situation or something doesn't go right, I try to forget about it. Yep. I don't dwell on it. I just push it aside and move on. But I know early in my career, when I first started, Nazareth was, I think it was a 320 cubic inch limit, and there really wasn't many 320s around. Most of them guys had built motors, and we went out, and I remember distinctly going to a junkyard and pulling a motor out of a big old Chevy truck and fighting bees and everything else to get this motor out and bring it home and rebuild it. It was pretty much stock, but it was 350. It was over the cubic inch limit. And I ran that. I think I ran that my first year there. And at the end of the year, we got caught with it, and we had to change our ways for the following year. And so we ended up, my father found a broken up 320 that he fixed and traded some parts to another guy for, and we built a 320 legal motor. But that kind of come back on me a little bit. But other than that, I can't remember hardly ever getting into a fight or altercations and stuff. We just went there and raced, and if we got beat, we went home and worked harder at it, and that's the way you did it. You're making this a really classy podcast episode here, Tig. He's over here chewing on the wires, so we had to pick him up. But so okay, turning it towards having kids like Billy and I.
Yeah.
I always tell people is when I was younger. I mean, I'm sure there was plenty of instances and wonderful stuff that we got into, but how was it for you, trying to instill that into us? I feel like in racing, we grew up quicker than most. And so when it came to, for us, it was, you have to be on your best behavior because this is your father's career.
Well, you reflect on your family, your family reflects on you. I mean, I see a lot of good young kids that are, that have promise and stuff, and their fathers get so much involved, and they want to see their kids win, and they get a little mouthy that the owner ain't putting enough money into it or something, and piss the owner off, and the kid loses a ride because the father opened his mouth when he shouldn't have. It's just it's just the way it is, and it goes back before you guys came around when I went out with your mother, and I had an altercation with somebody at Flemington one time, And she went down giving him a bunch of hell. And I don't know, he called her something. She come back, called me this. And I said, well, you shouldn't have went down there in the first place. So, I said, I can handle my own fights if I got to go down and fight the guy. But it's just, and it's the same way with you guys. It's tough being kids sitting in the stands and there's, there's pro Pouch fans and there's people that hate you, and you got to be around these people and they know who you are and they probably like to, rib on you and get you going. And, but you got to, a lot of times you just got to bite your tongue and move on from it, and, you guys grew up pretty good, and I've always got complimented on, how polite you guys were and good you were and stuff. And I always told them that's probably the mother that did that, not me.
She did. I remember, yes, can I help you? I remember at New Egypt, I recently brought this up on one of the podcasts. I remember, back when we sold the T-shirts up against the fence, and I got in trouble for throwing rocks under the grandstands.
For what?
Throwing rocks under the grandstands.
Oh, when you're a kid?
Yeah, I could have hit someone. I got that. And Mom had told me I'm pretty sure to this day, that was the time she told me, she's like, not the boosting our ego type of conversation, but she told me, she was like, you don't know who knows you. You don't know, you could be at the grocery store, you could be at the bar, you could be at the races. There's a possibility of someone that knows you, so you have to, you got to show up prim and proper. But I truly feel, not just in racing, but in life, all kids really should learn that.
Yeah, I mean, you show respect. I would say you show respect, you get respect. It's I seen a neat saying. It says, "Everybody's got rights." We all got rights. Mm-hmm. I'm entitled to this. I'm entitled to that. But how many people have rights? And what's the other one? Responsibility. Mm-hmm. I mean, we all have responsibilities too. I mean, we all have rights, but we have responsibilities to step up for what we think is right, and that's all there is in life is, trying to do the right thing. And I've always tried to be polite to people. And, when I go to races, I know not everybody's rooting for Billy Pauch. Mm-hmm. I mean, I learned that a long time ago. I crashed in the first turn and this guy standing up there, I got out of the car, and my car's bent up and stuff, and I looked, this guy's standing there, he's screaming at me, hollering at me, and cursing and everything else, and I had to look at him and laugh. I mean, he was so into being mean and rude, it's like, but I had to laugh, and that pissed him off even more, so I kind of learned that, not to let the A&I fans get the best of you and just shrug it off, because they paid their admission too, they're... Yeah. As long as they don't get in my family's face or something, that's a different story. Then game on, we're gonna go at it. Yeah. But they have the right to scream and holler and root for who they want and boo me or whatever, and that's all part of any sport. And you kind of accept that, and it's neat now that I'm like semi-retired or stuff. We do that book deal, and we were out at I think it was the motorsports show, and people come up and they talk to you, want you to sign their book and I get people that was, back in the day at Penn National, I hated you. I hated you. But he's by my book, but he says, I got to respect you for all the races you won and what you did, It's like anybody that wins too much, they start to get, people get tired of a guy that wins all the time. And I understand that, watching other sports and stuff, and but that's all part of it. I mean, that's why I go there to win. I don't go there to lose or place or show. I go there to win. And some people just it works them up, and they get a little over the fence over. But as long as they stay underside the fence and holler and hoot, that's all part of the game.
Yeah, it's definitely. I mean, that's what makes the sport a sport. It's the competition.
Yeah, I mean, it's people getting involved. It's like your fans. I remember one time after the race at Flemington, I'm sitting there after the race. I always sat there and talked to everybody and drank beer and stuff, and with the fans and answered their questions, signed stuff. And And some anti-fan went walking by and said something, and the next thing I know, the whole crowd was walking him through the pits. He wished he didn't say nothing, but that's what happens, you know.
Yeah, they want to have your back, and that's. I mean, I remember this perfect instance, I should say, is a few years back. Something happened on the track with Mike, with another driver, and we know Mike rarely ever. Isn't any altercations.
Right.
And this one time, Mike actually, he did. I guess I would say he was in the wrong. Essentially,
is that when he did the trunk dance?
No. This is when. Okay, may as well say it. Cornwall. He hit Brett Hearn in a heat race.
Yeah.
It was like in the very not the what'd you call it?
Well, I think. Didn't Brett knock him out of the way, and he knocked him back out of the way, right?
Okay, yeah.
And then he got penalized for it, right?
Correct, yes. Yeah, that's exactly what happened.
Because it was Brett Hearn.
Yeah. So, needless to say, I saw it. I mean, everyone sees the race differently, however they want to see it.
Uh-huh.
And so Mike came in, we got penalized. The deed's done.
Yeah.
And the crew guy that was with us at the time, he was so mad. He was defending Mike. I looked at him. I was like, you don't react. You don't do anything. You're not going after anyone. This is Mike's deal. He did it. Like,
Mike's so laid back and quiet, but when he loses, you don't want to be around.
No.
He'll do the trunk dance, right?
Yeah, he's the lid lifts.
You know, it's tough. You work hard on these cars and stuff, and somebody does a stupid act and gets you crashed, and it's like, I want to kill that guy, you know? But it's like, you know, you just got to go home and get better and fix it and come back, you know, and bite your tongue, you know. Like I said, I can count maybe a couple times that I've ever been in an altercation at a racetrack in a real fight, you know, and it's just... You know, 40-something years, that's not too bad, you know. But some guys, they go looking for fights, you know, and it's like, they're crazy, you know. It's like, but like I said, it's all part of the sport. And, you know, some people can hold it in better than other people, and some people can't. And I learned, it just seemed that the older I got, the less I could hold it in. I'd get mad and at stupid stuff easier, you know.
Was there ever times, because I can count a handful of times not just recently, but over the past few years, where I have to like talk our crew down, because I'm like, you are associated with us, you sign in with us,
right? You
stay at this trailer, you don't like there. I've had to like apologize for our crew, and you shouldn't have to, but
you shouldn't have to, but they're all keyed up, and they're there to win too, and you know, something happens that somebody took you out or something, you want to go over and give them a piece of your mind, you know, but it's like, and you're responsible for your crew. If your crew gets in a fight, they throw you out, you know, so it's not he ain't with us. Well, he's wearing your crew shirt. Well, he stole it. And, you know, but you're responsible for your crew. So, you know, I mean, yeah, I've had crews that wanted to go over and, you know, and there's times too where, you know, I've had it come to me and I, you know, like some of the crew, they're all bitching. They're like, look, I just screwed up. It was my fault. You know, it's like, but they're defending you even though you're wrong. It's like, I was wrong. You know, it's just, I screw up too, you know, so it happens. And, you know, that's racing. If you don't screw up every once in a while, you're not trying hard enough, you know?
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, I look at it as it's between the drivers.
Right.
And so it falls on the driver. If you're a crew member, if you're the wife or the whomever, relation, sponsor, owner, like all it does is fall on the driver.
Right.
You know, so whatever consequences it is, it's the driver. It's, you know,
yeah, I mean, when there's an incident out there, it's between two drivers. It ain't between the crews, it ain't between the owners, it ain't between the sponsors. So it needs to be worked out between the two people that it happened with, and that's the drivers, you know. And half the time, you know, you try to go to the side and talk, well, the crowd's got to follow you, and they got to be rated on top of it, and, you know, egging somebody on to punch somebody or get into it. And it says, you know, it's tough. I usually, if I have an altercation, I try not to get into it that night. I try to let it rest for a week, think about it, and then go back. Why we're calm down then and get whoever it is and pull them to the side and say we need to talk and try to work it out that way rather than while you're heated and pissed and go over there and it usually ends up in a fight, So I usually try to wait a week till they calm down, I calm down. It depends which way who's mad, if they're mad at me or I'm mad at them. But it usually works better if you come back the next week and say, hey, look, I screwed up and da-da-da-da-da, or you screwed up and try to work it out so it doesn't go any further than that on the racetrack,
Yeah. So I guess circling back to what I started this with is, you're at the point, you got a book out and it's not like there was like any deep, dark secrets released in it, but you're at the point where you can say whatever the hell you want. And yet you still keep to yourself.
Yeah, well, I still got a son and a daughter anymore.
Thanks, Dad.
And a son-in-law, it's
true.
like I said, here's this butthead coming over there screaming and hollering at somebody because he got into his kid, It's like, it's the same thing. Billy's got to, he's got to stand up for himself, and the same with you. With Mike and stuff, Mike's got to stand up for himself, and it's like, I don't want to, my reputation, but theirs is theirs, and I don't want to go over and get in the middle of stuff, If I try to stay out of Billy's racing, and if he asks me a question, I'll answer what I think he should do, and if he does, he does. If he doesn't, he doesn't, And it's like I try to help him as much as I can, but I can see if I was involved more like a team member that it would drive me nuts. I'd be mad. Why didn't you do that? Wow, you're an idiot.
Yeah.
Wow. Because my father did that with me, and it it didn't work out well. I mean, we argued a lot. We won a lot of races together. Believe me, he's the biggest plus in my career was my father, but we argued a lot because, he just, he wanted his way. I wanted mine. And sometimes I do it my way, even though his way was right, just to piss him off, and
Yes.
it's the same way now, it's like, I don't need to go out there and start, saying this or saying that. Cause I got family still involved in racing, and racing's racing,
I feel like it's one of the hardest things is just biting your tongue.
Oh, it is.
It is. You just want to say it so badly, but there's going to be like, you're going to get reprimanded for it. There's always karma.
I mean, I bitch and moan around my friends or something about this or that, but it's like, believe me, I don't go on the internet and post stuff, and that's a whole different world there, That's like the whole world sees it. It ain't just like you're talking with a few buddies and it's like, oh, he was pissed off, It's like, you go on the internet, it's like everybody sees it, and it's not productive for your family, the track, or anybody, just tearing stuff down. But there's a lot of things that kind of started really weighing on me here at the end with the motor rules and body rules and this and that and how they did stuff. And it's like, you know what? I don't need to do this no more. It's like, why bitch about it? I always said, if you didn't like what they were doing at one track, there's plenty more tracks around. Just go somewhere else. And I've done that in my career, and if I didn't like something in a track, I left, and I just got to that point in racing where I just didn't like the rules and the way stuff was. And I said, I had enough. So it's time to move on, try something different.
So to close, what would you suggest? I guess I'm thinking more towards parents that have their kids in the sport, when there's issues with their kid or their child or whomever, what do you suggest? Just
I'd be the last guy to ask. Remember when you used to play basketball and I'd be screaming in the stands?
You were.
I'm the same way with little Billy. He's out there, my grandson, shoot, And
I went to the first game, Dad. It brought back so many memories. Dad yelling on the sidelines.
It's tough. It's your kids, and you want to see them do good, and it's just it's tough. If they're running for somebody, you want the best for your kid, but they may not be able to afford it. So you got to bite your tongue on it and hope you're, just do the, I don't know. I'm into all these sayings now.
Yes, you are.
And it was really a cool one. It ain't, I can't even remember it now, but it's tough. I can see where parents and their kids racing and stuff. And, I mean, it happened to me 2 years ago at the opener at Bridgeport. I was having brake problems, and I was racing Matt Stagel. We were getting down. He was running the middle and the top, and so I said, well, I'll take a dive into one and try to, get him getting into one there. Well, when that turn, he turned down, and it's like, oh, and I turned the car. I did everything I could to keep off him, and I got into him and squished up his left rear quarter pounder. I think I ended up spinning, and so I pulled off. My brakes were messed up anyway. I was just trying to make it through the race, and I probably shouldn't have made the move I made, but it was my fault. I screwed up, and I come in the pits. I got out of the car, went up the stands, and I'm sitting there, and about 5 laps later, Matt gets the left rear flat, and his father's sitting a couple rows down from me. He jumps up, and it's like, you did that, wow, 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 wow. And it's like, what do you say? It's like, yeah, I did it on purpose. I just run into your kid. I had nothing better to do, So it's like, I was going to go down and say something to Matt after the race anyway, but, John pissed me off, but I still do it down. I still went down and explained to him what happened, and I never had problems with Matt. He's a good driver. No. And at the time, I was really pissed at John because he had to do it in front of the whole stands, I mean, everybody's sitting there, and it's like, being a parent, I forgive him.
It's hard.
I forgive him. I forgave him, I mean,
I
didn't say a word. I didn't argue with him or nothing or explain. I had brake problems. I didn't say one word.
Yeah. I
just let him scream and holler, and it got over when it was done, But I mean, it's his kid, He wants to see his kid do good, and, I give him a flat, and it's like, man, I didn't mean to do that, but that was an instance. I think he should have bit his tongue and waited till the races and seen if I went down and talked to him, which I was going to anyway, and if I didn't, then maybe the next week pull me and say, what the hell did you run into my kid for? And I explain it to him or whatever, but emotions.
Yeah, absolutely. But that too is like, I mean, hey, we've nothing at all against John. We love John in his own ways, but you don't know who's around. There could be sponsors, potential sponsors. And seeing like a dad react or a mom react, and it's like, ooh, I don't want to be associated with that.
No, I mean it because these owners and sponsors, when you hire a young gun to drive for you and stuff, their parents come with them. It's like they don't stay home; they're coming with them, and if that kid gets a reputation that their parents are a real pain in the ass and they're going to drive you nuts, it's like, well, you know what? I ain't going to hire that kid. He's got a lot of talent, but I ain't getting involved there. A lot
of baggage.
I don't need somebody screaming and hollering at me, and it's like, it hurts a lot of kids, and I know it's all emotions, but you gotta, you're the parents, and you got, it's your kid. You don't want to screw up his career,
I feel that's when, is it like passing the baton over to us, is we have to fight our own fights.
Yeah.
As a parent, that's pretty much what you've done. I mean, there's so much crap I get almost daily, and because of the stuff that you and mom instilled into us, I'm just like, what, I can't feed into it.
Yeah.
You as much as you want to say something and react, you gotta let it go.
Yeah, it's tough, Sometimes you want to pound people, It's like, where's that coming from, But and a lot of them like to heckle you too to see how far they can push you and get something out of you, And it's like, like I said, that guy screaming that day, he had his veins popped out, cussing me, hollering. It's like, I looked at him, I had to laugh, I mean, that's nothing new when you get fans on the other side of the stands, but when they start cussing and hollering in front of children and women and stuff, it's not right. But I've seen that a lot.
Yeah. Well, are you joining us? Are you over it? I'm trying to keep you from chewing stuff here. Well, Dad. Oh, actually, you know what? You want to close out? Do you remember the date? What's our date for open house? We officially said it, guys.
July 23rd, right?
Yep, July 23rd.
Sunday, 12 to 4.
You got it.
And it should be a pretty good time. we did it 2 years ago. We had quite a turnout, a
huge
fantastic turnout.
Yeah.
And we're working on a charity that we're going to benefit for. We'll have free food and soda and everything, and we just we're going to raffle off some body parts from the cars, my old cars, Billy's cars, and try to just raise some money for charity. And it's a good time. Fans come out and talk to us and sign whatever you got to get signed and stuff. Buffy will probably be here selling the book. BP3, he'll be out there with his car this year. He's got a new slingshot and he's ready to break loose and go. And so it should be a pretty good time. We always have a good time. It's just it's a lot of work. Getting it all up and gone. Yeah. But with social media anymore, it makes it a lot easier getting people that know. It's like we don't charge. We open the whole shop up here, the trophy room, all downstairs, and it kind of overflows into the pole barn over there. And Lenny Salmon's made me up a really neat backdrop with a lot of pictures of my old cars and people and stuff. So I got to find a spot in a pole barn and hang that on a wall for people that didn't see it at Motorsports. It's pretty cool.
It's really nice.
It's really nice.
There's a lot of pictures I'd never seen that.
Yeah, I really got to thank Lenny for giving that to me. It was really a nice gesture. Yeah.
So guys, mark your calendars. Sunday, July 23rd, 12 to 4 p.m. It's in Frenchtown, New Jersey. Just come to Frenchtown, ask anyone where the Pauch compound is, and you're not going to miss it. We'll have checkered flags out the driveway, you name it.
Yep. We always hang checkered flags off the telephone poles by the driveway. So if you're going down the road, look for checkered flags, and that's where you turn.
Yep. Hey, I remember when I used to have to print flyers, Dad, and I'd hang these flyers at the gas stations.
For the open house?
Yeah.
Really?
That was before social media. You've been doing it since
Doug and me, we've been doing it a long time. I can't even remember back in the 90s.
Yeah.
I remember the first year I did it, I think I broke my knee or something. I can't remember. That was in the 90s. Yeah. And I just actually sat in a lawn chair when we had it. We had an open house, and I was in a lawn chair signing pictures. And it was funny. Doug Lepore stopped today, and he gave me a bunch of old pictures and stuff that Debbie had.
Yeah.
And I didn't remember, but Fred Voorhees used to do a paper on me. It was called Kid Stuff.
I've been seeing that. Someone's been pulling it up lately.
Yeah. And I guess Debbie had them and stuff. So I got a whole pot of them down there that Fred Voorhees did. And that was before internet. Everything's on internet now. You go to this site or that site. But it was kind of neat to see that and how he did it and stuff. But, back in the day, it was just Ariel Racing News and word of mouth,
Yeah.
And now you got the internet.
Yes, July 23rd. Thank you, Dad, for having us on. Finally got this little guy over here to relax.
Yep.
But
we showed off our new boy.
Yeah, this is Tigger, everyone. I think he might finally be sleeping after all that. But if you guys enjoyed this, if you like this, please like it, share it, subscribe. Take a picture, screenshot it, post it on social media, tag us, let us know what you thought, and maybe drop in the comments some other topics I can wrangle Dad on to join us, and we'll discuss. So until then, happy belated Dad.
Sounds good.
And we'll catch you next time.
Sounds good.
All right. See you guys.
Take care.